Hello and welcome to our crochet tutorial. Today we're going to be making an adorable little bee. You can access the pattern on www.wiredforcrochet.com. You'll need some chenille yarn, whichever yarn you prefer. I used a thinner velvet yarn, which is an 8mm yarn for the smaller bee, and then a 12mm yarn for the larger bee. Some scissors. You'll need a crochet hook. Again, the size will change depending on which yarn you're using. I personally used a 12mm hook for the larger bee, and I used a 5mm hook for the smaller bee. But even now, depending on if I'm having a good day or a bad day with my hands, I still end up changing the size of my hook because my tension changes. You'll need a stitch marker. I used a bobby pin because I found that it didn't fall off. And you'll need some safety eyes and some stuffing. If you're going to embroider the eyes on, you'll need some black and white yarn that is thinner than your chenille yarn. So we're going to start with a magic ring. There's different ways of doing this. I found this way the easiest for me. So I start by making a circle with the long end of the yarn over the top. I then insert my hook into the circle and pull the long end of the yarn under and through the circle, and this makes a little loop on your hook. I then yarn over my hook and pull through the loop, and this just secures the circle. I don't class it as a single crochet. I am using American terms. So now make your first single crochet into the loop, and I go over the tail end whilst I'm doing that. So to do this, you're going to put your hook through your magic circle. You're going to yarn under, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull that through both loops on your hook. And once I've done that first single crochet, I find it's best if I tug all the bits of yarn, because if I don't, I end up with a loop that sticks out. Make 7 more single crochet. So hook through your magic circle, yarn under, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Through your magic circle, yarn under, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. With some chenille yarns, you're going to need to make your magic ring smaller as you go so that it closes easily and doesn't snap. So just make sure you give it a tug as you're going along. Complete the last 5 single crochet of this round. Make sure you pull it tight once you've finished that final stitch. Once I've done that, I like to put a stitch marker on my last stitch. So now we're going to do an invisible join, or nearly invisible join. You can still see it a little bit, but if you just go in rounds without doing the join, you end up with the black and the yellow disjointed. So to do the invisible join, you're going to take your hook out of your loop and go through the back of the first stitch. You'll hook your loop over your hook and then pull that loop through to the back of your work. To make your first single crochet of the next round, you're going to put the hook through the same stitch that you've just pulled your loop through. It might feel a little bit tight, so find the space under your stitch, put your hook through, yarn under, pull up a loop. You should have 2 loops on your hook, then yarn over and pull through both loops. We're going to be increasing into each single crochet from the round before, so you're going to go into the same stitch again. Yarn under, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through both loops. Now you'll put your hook through the next stitch and do 2 single crochet into that stitch. So yarn under, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops, and repeat that again into the same stitch. Now work your way to the last stitch of the round. You should have 16 single crochet altogether. Pause the video and come back when you've finished that round. We're going to do another invisible join. So put your hook through the back of the first stitch of the last round. Then pull the loop over the hook and pull that through to the back of your work. Now you're going to do 16 single crochet. Remember that you need to go into the same space underneath the loop that you've just pulled up for your invisible join. So put your hook through that first stitch space, yarn under, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops. I'm just crocheting over the tail because I forgot to work it in before, and I hate sewing in at the end. So continue doing your single crochet until you get to the second to last stitch, and then come back and join me and I'll show you how to pull up the black. Pause the video and come back when you've finished that round. So you're going to go into the last stitch as normal, so put your hook through that last stitch, yarn under, pull up a loop, but now instead of doing yarn over and pulling up yellow yarn, you'll pull up your black yarn through both loops and give it a little bit of a tug just to tighten it up. So we'll continue by doing another invisible join. You'll do this exactly the same way as you have done already, but you're now pulling through this black loop. Then you'll do 16 single crochet, and on the last stitch of the round, you'll pull up yellow again. So if you get to that last stitch and then come back and I'll show you how to pull up the yellow. Pause now. So insert your hook into the last stitch as normal, yarn under, and pull up the black yarn. Then instead of pulling up your black yarn, you're now going to switch and pull up your yellow yarn. So pull that through both loops. Create another invisible join and then do 16 single crochet in the yellow. Pause the video and come back when you've finished that round. Now put in the eyes. I like to place the eyes so that the bottom of the bee is where the invisible join is. It's important to note though that even though they're called safety eyes, they're not actually always the safest and they can still go through your work. So make sure that you're placing them in a secure place. I've started embroidering eyes on my projects now, just for that extra peace of mind. Let me know if you'd like me to record a video showing you how I embroider the eyes. I tend to find the securest place to position them is on the outside of that first magic ring round. Place the eyes where you'd like and then pop the backs on with the widest edge facing the eyes. Now continue with the next round. You'll need to have done an invisible join and then you'll do 16 single crochet. On the last stitch, you'll pull up black. Pause the video and come back when you've finished that round. Now do another invisible join and 16 single crochet. On the last stitch, pull up yellow. Pause the video and come back when you've finished that round. Do another invisible join and then 16 single crochet of the yellow. Pause the video and come back when you finish that round. Do another invisible join and then we're going to start to decrease our stitches. So as usual, you're going to go into the stitch underneath your join that you've just made, yarn under, pull through a loop. But now you're going to go into the next stitch and do the same again. So you'll yarn under and pull through that stitch. Now you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Now we're going to do that again. So put your hook through the next stitch, yarn under, pull up a loop. Go into the next stitch, yarn under, pull up a loop. Now yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So I'll go through it one more time. So go into the next stitch, yarn under, pull up a loop. Then go into the next stitch, yarn under, pull up a loop. Then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Continue doing this until you get to the end of the round. On your last stitch, pull up black. You should end up with 8 stitches in total. Cut the yellow yarn so you've got enough left to work through your next round so you don't have to sew it in at the end. Stuff your bee and then do your magic join to start your next round. This is another decrease round. So you're doing exactly the same as you did in the last round. Putting your hook through the first stitch, yarn under, pull up a loop, put your hook through the next stitch, yarn under, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Do this to the end of the round. You'll end up with 4 stitches. Once you get to the end of that round, you're then going to slip stitch under the next 2 stitches. Then you'll do that 2 more times. Slip stitch into the loop opposite, then cut your yarn, leaving enough yarn to weave into the stinger of the bee. So pull that yarn through and using a smaller hook size, weave it in until you're happy with the shape. Cover the areas between the black and the yellow. To make the wings, we'll do a magic circle. Make a circle with the long end of your yarn on the top. Place your hook through the circle and then pull up a loop. Then yarn over and pull through that loop. This will secure the loop. Now make 6 single crochet into the magic circle. Remember to tug your work so that it tightens up and doesn't snap when you pull it all together at the end. Once you finish those 6 single crochet, pull it tight and then make a slip stitch into the first single crochet. Pull your yarn through and cut it off. Now tie the 2 ends of your yarn together. I have to admit that each time I attach the wings, I do it slightly differently. I find the middle between the 2 eyes and I attach the wings on the back of the 2 yellow rows between the black rows. Using the smaller crochet hook, I pull through the tail ends. And then tie them together. And then go around the back of the wing and tie them together behind that. You can also double knot them to make them extra secure. Repeat for the second wing. Pull through the ends to secure the wings. Trim off any excess yarn, and that is your bee complete. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please like and subscribe to this channel. If you want to see what else we have to offer or would like to purchase a digital download of the PDF pattern, head over to the website at www.wiredforcrochet.com. I have put links to the website and to the products used in this tutorial below. I hope you have a great day.